already. It's about as trash as Well, we should be live. So welcome everybody to the official Sports Gaming Anonymous Madden podcast. So we've been teasing this for a while now, and we're finally going to make it happen. I'm Flash, as usual. And with me on the other side of the table is Dash. What's up? Yep. And of course, back in the game, the best producer in the business, Dre Wingate.
He's back, baby.
What's up?
Hey, welcome back. And my man C, aka C1, aka the greatest rapper you've never heard of. What's good?
I don't know what to do with my hands, baby. Right, rappers supposed to do shit with their hands. I'm like, you know what I mean?
So we are going to be discussing all things Madden as a franchise in general, upcoming Madden, the new Madden 21. I'm going to let Dre introduce it. See, we get started already. I'm going to let Dre kind of introduce how we're going to handle things here a little bit going forward for the rest of this cast.
All right, so today's cast, as Reese said, it's all about Madden. We're not just talking about Madden 21. This is literally the career of Madden. We've all, in our group chat, we've all had many discussions, many debates, a lot of heated debates. So right now we're just going to discuss it. We're going to lay it all out because a lot of the main people that are even talking about it are here on this cast right now. So first, we're going to start off with everyone's going to get at most 3 minutes to discuss their feelings about Madden. And then in those 3 minutes, only that person can talk. No one can interrupt. No one can comment, none of that kind of stuff. And then after all four people have gone, then we'll go into a breakdown of each mode and talking about different things. And lastly, we're going to end on legacy issues that we have with Madden. And then we will talk about Madden 21. So that's how we're going to start. So the first person on the clock with their 3 minutes is going to be Ree. As soon as he starts, his 3 minutes will be we'll start going. We'll start ticking down.
All right. So here we go. Madden as a whole, listen, quick biopsies for me. Look, being 37 and playing Madden since 93, 94, Madden has come a long way. It used to be great. Madden hit a peak, let's call it 2000, anywhere between 2004 and 2008 were probably the best versions we've ever seen of Madden. Gameplay-wise, structurally speaking. Since that time and when Madden made its subsequent jumps to further next generations, the progress seemed to decline, especially once EA got a hold of the NFLPA license and would only, game making NFL games. The problem I have with Madden personally is that it's starting to make, like I said, way more regressions than it should be. And Madden has too many legacy issues that have been holding it back for years now, where it's like the same problems, and they're not fixing it. They just add new things on top of it to kind of gloss it over. It's like just sticking a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound. Like, that's not really going to do anything. They just, they throw things over it. They call it new features, but it's not fixing the structural problems. And I'm going to cut it short because I want Madden to be great, because I remember a point in time where Madden was great. I went to all the midnight sales, and even to this day, I've played every year of Madden since 93. So, I always play the game. I withhold all judgment on Madden until I get my hands on the new version. And that's it. That's all I'm going to say about it for now.
All right. C, you're up next.
Oh, well. I know I've already started talking. I just, it's new territory for me to have a moment where I just have the floor and there isn't a gang of, there ain't a gang of folks jumping down my throat. So I just figured I'd take like my first 30 seconds and just soak the moment in real quick where y'all can't say nothing. And it's the C show right now. What up, everybody? All right, well, much like Ree, I'm an avid Madden player from, its original times back in the early 90s. all the way up through every console that it's been on. I even owned NFL head coach. So if it was a football game, if the NFL put the shield on it, it was purchased by me. And that's pretty much how it's been. So Madden, all of his competitors, including Game Day and NFL Quarterback Club and the NFL Blitz games and NFL just all NFL 2K, the 2K series, all of that. I played all of that because that's what I'm into is I play football games. Mm-hmm. So I have some knocks about Madden as well. So, one of my knocks is you can't throw fades in the game. Fades are broken. You can't throw over a defender for some reason in Madden. If there's a defender and your receiver's not Julio Jones or DeAndre Hopkins or, one of these great receivers like Keenan Allen or one of these types of guys, then, that's it. That's an interception. You can't throw an end zone fade. And I'm a Falcons fan, and Julio Jones is pretty much the prototypical receiver for fades. And you can't throw him a fade for your life because they just have it where defenders in coverage are kind of OP, like where they're in the vicinity and they just catch the interception. You got linebackers, with 60-foot verticals, not 60-inch, 60-foot verticals. They jump up. Anybody will tell you, you jump on Madden 20 right now. You play, you play a franchise. You want to have Edmonds from the Bills because he's 6'4". His jumping's like 80 something, and he can snatch all them INTs about the air. And you know what I'm saying? And it's been like that where, it's little things like that made it where, guys get the new Madden and then they wait about a week and then you jump on YouTube and you got all these guys like the best running play, the unbeatable defense, and all of this stuff because these guys are playing Madden like it's a video game instead of playing it like it's football. And Madden has designed a game where you have to play it like a video game. You're playing Madden now like you play Tekken. You want the best combos and you want the best whatevers. And in football ain't no best whatever. It's everybody knows, anybody who loves football knows it's 30% blocking, 30% tackling, 30% coaching, and 10% fucking magic. You know what I'm saying? And it's that little magic that makes the ball bounce a certain way. And Madden is trying to manufacture the magic is my problem with Madden.
Okay.
But I will say this, as I said it already, if it has the shield on it, I'm going to purchase it. And there lies the problem. It's as long as Madden gets my $60, they're just going to keep putting out the same product. And that's really my only positive to say about it is, regardless of how good or bad it is, I will buy it. And there's a whole bunch of me out there that keeps doing it because Madden and these microtransactions, the money just keeps increasing every year. And they're making more money. And there's more and more people saying they don't want to play this game anymore. They don't want to buy it. So I guess you could say my only positive is a negative, and it's that they own the market. So I'm just gonna fucking play it.
All right, Courtney, you're up.
All right, my issues with Madden, or I guess my overall take of Madden is a short one. It's not super in depth or super detailed. It's just, I guess, the investment in certain game modes more than others. They added some game modes that we'll be talking about, like Knockout, and they invested heavily in things like Ultimate Team. But all I've been wanting from Madden is like a full investment into the connected franchise. And you can throw all the microtransactions you want into that. Don't even care. As long as they not pay to win type. That's what I've always wanted from Madden. That's the same thing that I wanted from 2K, just to be able to hop on with your friends or your family and whomever else, dive into this franchise and actually have the backing that a game mode like Ultimate Team does. All it takes is a little bit of innovation to figure out how to monetize that in the best ways possible. Not even sure how you could even get into that completely, but you can go into a list of things. But if I'm gonna give it a gripe outside of that, as far as gameplay, it's gonna be the investment in skill players. Like C said, it was 30% blocking, but they generally, outside of being able to shift your alignment, don't give any sort of true control of whom is blocking who or what assignments are picked up. Or no level of detail in actual blocking.
Preach.
So you're left with trying to make it about the trenches, but do nothing to give the offense any sort of capabilities to actually defend against these type of things. Outside of just shifting your alignment or coming out in a specific package, you were stuck with these overpowered Myles Garretts and Von Millers coming around the end with 17 tries of potentially missing an attempt before actually getting a green one, and him coming seaming around the end to come and knock your block off. Mind you, in like 2 seconds. Because for some reason, your tackle can't get off the line fast enough at all under any circumstances. But that's what I would truly like to see. If they're going to invest all this into these skill positions, offensive lineman, one of the most valuable and hardest position to actually learn.
It's supposed to be.
So why not give it the actual attention that it truly deserves, and give the people that actually know and have that depth of knowledge in regards to the offensive line the competitive edge in a simulation football game, quote unquote, to kind of potentially turn the tables and not just make it about all of these skill positions that are out on the field. But other than that, that's all I got.
All right. I'm actually not too different from what Courtney just said. I only buy Madden for connected franchise. The same reason why, the only reason I get 2K is for my association or my league. I don't do FIFA, I don't do MLB The Show. But if I were to buy those, the only reason I buy sports games is for basically to be a GM, to be an owner, whatever, and run my team and build, see what I can do, have creative players come in, all that kind of stuff. So I used to love it when NCAA football was, RIP to it. But when it was, a thing, and when your class would graduate and you could upload that roster to Madden and just bring them over and, see how their careers go and stuff like that. Like, I used to love that. So my biggest thing is that over the past few years, it seems like Courtney said, they just haven't really put in that effort into franchise mode. I think franchise mode could be way deeper than what it is, but we'll get to that in a second. The other thing I don't truly too much like about Madden is that it's not necessarily a football simulation game. It is a football arcade game in the sense that once you know the trick or once you know the inner cheat code of something, then boom, you've got it. You've unlocked the key to whatever it is that you want to do. It doesn't even matter. You could have a 65 overall linebacker as your starting linebacker and use him as a 90, 95 overall linebacker. So it's just, it's those little things like that where players don't actually play to even their overalls. So there's a lot of stuff within Madden I feel like has gone behind the wayside because they're too busy focused on the microtransaction aspect of the game, which I get it. They got to make money. But at the end of the day, we still want to enjoy your product, enjoy your game. But we kind of feed into it because, like C says, we keep buying it every year. So that's pretty much it. I love the game. I still love the game, but I'm just not immune or I'm not oblivious to the BS that they're putting out now. So kind of with that being said, the first thing that we're going to get into and tackle is connected franchise. So me personally, I feel like connected franchise should be way deeper than what it is.
Understatement.
And what I'm going to do, because 2K is a game that I play also career-wise, I'm going to compare the two in certain aspects of what I feel like Madden could even adopt that 2K does. Now, don't get me wrong. This cast isn't about 2K, and I'm not saying that 2K is a perfect game because it is not. But there are some aspects about my league that Madden could definitely use to help bolster it. So one thing is me, I'm a numbers guy, I'm a stats guy. So I like to keep track of what everyone does, how they're doing, throughout their careers, things like that. And it's hard to keep track of that. It used to be easier back in the day. You could pull all that kind of stuff up, see their stats like that and everything. But then Madden kind of like dumbed it down within these past few years. And like in 2K, how you can go, you've got team records, you've got career records, and they go all the way. I think it's like the top 100 for all the different like most points per game, all that kind of stuff. You don't have that in Madden. You've got top 10 and everything. And once we go crazy, especially Courtney, when he's got his quarterbacks throwing for 7,000 yards every year,
cheating.
Right, then that stuff is flooded with those people. So you don't see what everyone is on there, or you don't even see how close you're getting to in certain, like maybe you're 14th on passing yards list. You're like, man, if I could just get him to not retire this year, he could stay a little bit longer, stuff like that. You just don't know. So it's like, one, records could be so much better. Two, draft picks, they've gotten better with how to do the drafting and stuff like that, like at least the visual aspect of it. But to me, I feel like it's still too easy to find out, oh, this guy's a gem, this guy's going to be a bust, this guy's a safe pick. When in real life, the draft isn't like that. We don't know. And most of the time, all players that come through the draft, they can all play football. What really helps people out is the situation that they're drafted into. Like, Peyton Manning being drafted by the Colts, he's put into a situation where he didn't have the best team around him, and that, that showed starting on. But him personally was a great quarterback, and once he got the pieces, he was able to build on that. Jamarcus Russell was drafted into a situation that wasn't the best situation, but he was not a great quarterback, and he wasn't able to build on that.
Trash.
But both went number 1 overall, and well, actually, I think Peyton went 2. I think Ryan Leaf went 1. But people just you don't know that going to the draft. You're just going off of what they did in college, what you think they might do because of their stature, stuff like that, and then boom. The other thing is, when it comes to like, it really doesn't matter who you hire as a coach, who you hire as a trainer, and who you hire as a scout in franchise mode. Like, it's literally just something that you do, but it has absolutely no business whatsoever. Like, yeah, basically it doesn't matter. And then the other thing is, after a while, I just don't feel like the CPU is even trying to build a super team, or the CPU is like, the CPU only cares about the CPU when it's like when we're playing the game. But when the CPU is building, the non-user control teams, like, I don't feel like they're actually doing a smart job when it comes to free agents, when it comes to trades, when it comes to real life. And that's what 2K does. Like, 2K realizes, because they even tell you with the team intel, this team's rebuilding, this team's contending, this team is buying. Like, and I understand that trades don't happen as much in the NFL as they do in the NBA, but which teams are contending, which teams are focused more on draft picks, or they're just going through the season, which teams are kind of stuck in that 7-9 to 9-7, record range. And my thing is, they're not doing that. So that's where they really need to step up with the AI, with the franchise. And see, I see you laughing over there. So what you got?
No, he ain't going nothing. I'm going. This is what we doing. Okay, because first of all, everything you said, I agree with. Connected franchise gets no focus because all they care about is Ultimate Team and this stupid mutt shit, and getting these, nickel and diming the hell out of you until you got nothing left. Pay to win. That's all they care about. They putting everything into Ultimate Team because they're getting residual dollars from Ultimate Team. So Connected Franchise gets nothing. Nothing from Connected Franchise. Again, I don't even need to expand on it because everything you said is 100% true. I like what, Courtney mentioned at the end, during his 3 minutes, because he mentioned a lot about line play. And that's one of the biggest, first, before I even get into that, shout out to my man C, because, usually me and him we go back and forth and we do this Madden argument that we have almost like every third day of the week. But it's like, I'm kind of taken aback by everything that he had to say, because it's like, it's so like not what he usually says.
Yeah,
like
Okay,
Motherfuckers don't be asking me how I feel.
Because he's always defending, and it's just like
you about to get your right hook of defense here the next like 30 minutes.
no,
Wait.
but
Yeah, the real C's gonna show up soon.
but like for real, it's like with line play being such a integral part of how football operates. Nothing like football is about what happens in the trenches. And the problem with Madden is that everything that happens in the line of scrimmage is based on insta-win. And I used that term before. I used that term in the group, insta-win on defense. Because if you have Myles Garrett or you have, Aaron Donald, you have these guys, the game is programmed for these guys and their moves, the skills that they give them, the X factors and superstar abilities that they give them to be able to instantly win against the offensive lineman. And that's not how football functions. And if EA was real about saying, okay, it's about line play, it's about the trenches, then if you're gonna put a Band-Aid over line play and give defensive players ability, then give the offensive lineman the same ability. They tried to double back halfway through Madden 20 and put it and give the offensive linemen like X factor.
Yeah, they went back.
They weren't even. This is superstar abilities that were completely irrelevant. And it was so like most people were like 3 years into their franchise, and it was like, well, we're not starting over for you to have linemen with superstar abilities. I'm sorry, it's not happening.
Was it just superstar abilities? It wasn't superstar X factors.
I don't think they.
No, they only got superstars.
What's the X factor? So all defensive players still had these X factor abilities, right? So if you wanted to be real about it, give offensive linemen X factor abilities too. Because why shouldn't the offensive lineman be able to be like, instant pancake? Yeah. Like, I don't care. Like, as long as it's not, again, elite guys, because in my honest opinion, elite offensive linemen should cancel out elite defensive linemen. Yeah. Like, you should, that matchup should be a wash. Because guess what? When Aaron Donald and these dudes go up against the best linemen, they're getting smashed every week. Yeah. And I don't care who's it, like, pull up the numbers. There are weeks where Aaron Donald gets like 1 tackle, no sacks, because he's going up against elite offensive linemen. And that's exactly how the game should play out, but it doesn't. Right. If you use an Aaron Donald and you know how to play him, and you get him in the zone and you using his abilities, you're getting 3-4 sacks against any lineman. It doesn't matter. Right? So until they fix line play, I don't care how anything else plays in the game, yo. If you fix line play, it'll pretty much fix how most of the game functions, because that's core football at its finest. Like, if you fix line play, if you make sure the offensive line is forming a real pocket, and again, I've used old games as a reference. I use All Pro Football 2K8 as a reference, NFL 2K5 as a reference, where at the very least, and again, I always use those games because those games did it right at those times, those little things. We're not going to sit here and compare graphics and all that dumb shit, because obviously we've come a long way since then. But if we're comparing structural core gameplay things, you look at those games, it's like, yo, the offensive line is forming real pockets. You don't have defensive linemen just dominating the one guy dominating the line of scrimmage. And that game had Hall of Fame guys like Lawrence Taylor in it. So it's like, did I have those guys just dominating the line of scrimmage? And again, I like the way, going back to 2K8, I like the way they did it where the players didn't have ratings. They just had like tier rankings. It was like silver, gold, bronze, whatever. Like in Madden, it's like every year it's just like, here's the guys who's 99, and these guys are 98, and these guys are this and that. And it's just like, okay, those are the guys that are going to dominate the game no matter what. Like C mentioned before, you guys, Julio Jones, guys like that, Odell, these guys. It's like, those are the guys that are going to dominate the game, and you can't do shit about it. Because the game is like, okay, as long as you activate these players' abilities and you activate whether or not they're in the zone, they're going to dominate the game. And you can't do shit about it, really, because the game
I'm going to touch a little bit on the line play. So I'm going to take it one step further than what you've even said, because I also agree with everything you said about line play. But they don't need to fix line play as a whole. They need to fix line play for users, because for the CPU, they don't have any problem blocking defensive linemen They don't have any problem with their D linemen getting past our offensive linemen, getting to our quarterbacks. Like, I understand Khalil Mack is a great defensive lineman / linebacker, depending on which defensive scheme he's playing in. But there should not be a reason that every time I go into a game, Khalil Mack is getting anywhere from 4 to 7 sacks. Like, in real life, no one is getting 4 to 7 sacks every game they go into. Like, it doesn't happen like that. Like, I have, like, everyone knows the Eagles are my favorite team. I've got Lane Johnson as my right tackle. Lane Johnson is an all-pro tackle. He is a Pro Bowl tackle. He is one of the best, if not the best, right tackle in the league. We'll, save that for another discussion. But my thing is, he should not be getting blown past by DeMarcus Lawrence, Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, Nick Bosa, like all those people. It just shouldn't happen. Now, I'll talk about when we get into legacy issues, but I'm just touching on it for a little bit here. And I think the problem was with the X factors that they gave to D linemen. Like, to activate the X factor, you had to get 3 sacks. And my thing is, I'm like, D linemen don't get 3 sacks every single game.
No.
Like, if a D lineman gets 3 sacks in a game, like, that is an amazing game. He's defensive player of the week, all that kind of stuff, whatever.
Right.
But he might go 2-3 more games where he only gets 1 sack or maybe no sacks at all. Like, there's a reason, only certain guys get 17, 18, 19, 20 sacks in the season. That's not just something that everyone does.
Crazy is you mentioning that, and it's like, I think about, again, I've said this before in the group, and I tell y'all this 100%, like, I only play Madden because of this personal sports gaming anonymous, our little group that we have on the side. Like, if not for y'all, I wouldn't buy Madden anymore. I just wouldn't. And that's, to get to that point is crazy to me because, like I said, I play Madden every year. But the last few years, I've only played because it's like, all right, we doing a franchise. And again, like he said, being a fan of the league, you're going to, you see right here. You're gonna play the game. You're gonna play. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Well, man, adjusting the chat keys. That to keep the chat keys on point.
You're gonna play the game no matter what, and it's just like I don't know, man. Like they're not fixing those issues, and this is irritating. I've lost my whole
Courtney,
train of
do you have
thought.
something that you need to say about connected franchise? It doesn't necessarily have to be the gameplay, just be connected franchise. So
I was gonna dive in a little bit what you were talking about in regards to the draft. Just having more control.
Reed, don't pass out, bro.
Over just having more control of the narrative that drives the draft itself, whether it be just make it more in depth. Like, I mean, we scout the guys, or we start on week 3, or week 4, the scouting.
But there's a way to even cheat that. I don't understand.
Right. And you click 3 buttons, and it's like, okay, and now you wait until the end of the year. And I feel like it should be just a little bit more than that. And to also say, I would make, if you're going to have an owner mode, if you're going to have the option to be an owner, actually make the other things that you do while you're an owner, like the merchandise sales and the jersey prices or all of that stuff. Make it matter. So if somebody's just kind of doing whatever the hell they want or not doing anything at all, make some sort of cost, benefit, reward, consequence to those things. Otherwise, they shouldn't be there because they're just there. They're just like novelty.
Right.
Because, I mean, if you're winning, okay, you can probably sell a little bit higher. Right. Outside of that, that's it.
So before we move on to the next thing, I'm going to ask everyone, what is just one wish item that you would love to see in Connected Franchise? And I'll start off. So for me, and I've kind of been saying this for at least the last 3 years because I feel like the last 3 years in the NFL have proven that this should be in Madden if you want something that's real. So I've always said that Connected Franchise should have some type of character rating or character development in a sense where you can have a T.O. or an Antonio Brown, or a Josh Gordon on your team, but there's no guarantee that they might actually play all 16 games. You know, it might pop up where it says, you know, hey, Josh Gordon just got hit with such and such. He's got to serve a 4-game suspension. Or Antonio Brown just hit such and such, and he's got to face an 8-game suspension. Because then at that point, you really got to build a team. Because now, all right, your star wide receiver is now out, and now you've got, you know, and I'm going to go old school here, but now you got to start your game with Antoine Randall L as your wide receiver, your star wide receiver, instead of Hines Ward, or instead of, you know, San Antonio Moss and stuff, or San Antonio Holmes and stuff like that. So I'm just like, you know, add that in, because that's a thing, you know, so that makes it more real, and that's something that happens in people's careers. So I've always thought like that character type of system should be in there, because that even affects how people get picked up in free agency and how much money you throw at them and stuff like that.
I'll go next. Shoot, man. I kind of like what you were saying, to just kind of expand on some of the scenarios in connected franchise mode. I want to play it or hold out. If I have like a 98, 99 player, or I have a player that was a rookie, and he, you know what I'm saying, I used him so well, I upgraded him. I might have drafted him at a 77, but now he's like an 88, 89, you know, 1 year before his contract ends, and now he want to hold out because he wants some money.
That's a good one.
And give me situations like that. Give me a guy that gets arrested in the off season, and he regresses a little bit. Just take an overall point off, because somebody with like a lot of one of the players. I don't know if y'all ever noticed that like that personality stat, and it feels like it's kind of a useless stat, except for like in like jersey sales. But it's like it's really the most pointless thing to even worry about. Like, make that shit matter. Make the player with a lot of personality, you know, get arrested in the off season, or, you know what I'm saying, or something happens, he breaks his leg riding a jet ski in the off season. Now he's out into the preseason, and, you know, he misses an upgrade on a trade or something like that. Like those type of situations, to where you're really actually having to manage the team, instead of just, you know, just trying to satisfy the contract of the players that you want to keep. And it's like they have it like where, you know, they have it where it's pretty much the same mode every year, and they added the scenarios, but the scenarios now kind of seem like a little bit of a chore. It's like, oh boy, now I gotta throw to this receiver 10 times in a game just to upgrade his trait. But now I'm basically throwing the game, trying to force feed a receiver all game. And it's like, you can do that against the CPU. That ain't no issue, because everybody can find a cheese play they can just use on the CPU and just throw it to that receiver 10 times and then just play the rest of your game like normal. But you can't do that against a user. You run the same 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 plays, they start catching on, and now you're throwing picks left and right, because now they're just waiting for those plays to come, because they see you're force feeding the player, because they're doing the same thing. They have to force feed like their running back, for example, on their side. So they're running the ball excessively anyway, and you getting up because you keep throwing to your receiver. And it's like, it becomes a chore. Like, I gotta increase the quality of the play, instead of it being like the natural flow of the game and connected franchise. So that one thing I could add on is just like I said before, it's the scenarios. They should expand on the scenarios.
That's a good point. And I got one. It took me 2 people to get one. The good thing y'all went first. I was going to keep passing. I think make players' abilities fluctuate based on what you do with them, lineup wise. Like, if you pull somebody from the lineup, like, that should affect their confidence, and it should affect their skills. It should affect their abilities. It should take a hit. Like, if you have your quarterback and you pull him like in the second quarter, he should take a ratings hit for either the rest of the game or maybe the next week, depending on whether you put him back in or whatever the case may be, at any position. To discourage, like, to make it more simulation-like, to make it more like real football, real life, where it's not just – because that's one part of it that it really feels like it's a fucking video game and nothing else. Like, because in real life, when you pull a guy from the game, he's like, yo, like, that deteriorates that player's psyche. And that might affect the way he plays. If you like, all right, we'll go back in next week, or go back in 2 quarters later, they're like, all right, well, damn, like, how do you really feel about me? Like, that should affect their abilities. If you just decide to pull your starting quarterback in the second and third quarter, that should affect his abilities for the whole rest of that game, and maybe longer than that, depending on how long you keep him out of the starting position on the depth chart. Yeah, that's all I got. That's it, literally. Like,
that's a good one, though. I mean, because I guess in that situation, it could also work the reverse. Like, and I'll use the Eagles for an example.
Correct.
So like all season long, we didn't have a receiver that could catch. And then the last 4 games, here comes Greg Ward Jr., who had been a standout in training camp, but now he's actually performing on the field. So if that had happened in Madden, then technically in the reverse of what you said, he should get a ratings boost because you've now shown confidence in him and he's performing. So,
also, to go along with that, just to piggyback on that real quick, just to deter the negative that could come from that, right? Because you can't just say, I'm going to promote a guy that's low. Because let's be honest, real quick, what's the one trait in Madden that trumps everything? Speed, right? Okay. So to deter you from taking a guy who's got 97 speed, but he's a 53 overall, and putting him in as your starting receiver to boost his stats up, and again, like you said, to give him that ratings boost in the game, there's got to be a way in that fashion
to deteriorate who your actual starter is.
It's got to be earned. Right. You can't just do it and those ratings not matter. But again, as I've said before, for a game that's based on ratings and animations and stuff like that, the ratings should matter more. You shouldn't be able to just take a guy who's really fast and put him in as your starting wide receiver, and he's going to get 15 catches for 300 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Courtney.
You shouldn't be able to do that because in real life, we've seen plenty of guys
Talk about Kevin White.
It's Courtney's favorite guy. Like, we've seen plenty of guys come in and out of the NFL that have Olympic track speed but have been trash.
Because normally they can't run routes.
2 years because they were nothing but fast. That's all they could do. They couldn't catch. They couldn't defend nobody. Like, all they could do was run fast.
Shout out to Jakeem Grant.
Right. That was it. Like, that should translate to the field in the game somehow. They got to figure that shit out. You can't just be like, give me the fastest guy. Because, look, again, we were talking about franchise. We were talking about the draft. What are you looking for? You're looking for the fastest guy. Like, that's like, you don't even care what his overall is. You're like, just give me the fastest guy. Like, I don't care. Like, that's a problem. That's a problem. Like,
I got the solution though.
All right, Courtney, what's your wish list item then?
I have the solution, even though I capitalize on this every year. Every year. But it's first things first. There's 2 things, and there's one. It's
all the honeys.
It's introduce level caps per year based off awareness and potential.
Okay.
So you can't, depending on your 56 overall guy, right? Let's say he has a B
I feel
potential.
Like we talked about this, but go ahead.
I think we did. Yeah. Say they have like a B potential, and their awareness is pretty low. They're only gonna cap out max 85 overall over their career.
Okay.
And they can only advance a certain amount of rating points.
Yes.
Per year for that player based off of that rating.
Correct.
I kind of don't like that.
No, I understand his point because wait. I understand because I feel like we talked about this, and the point that we came up with is that, like, if you determine through the draft or whatever the case may be, a guy has elite level talent, because every draft have guys that have that type of potential, right? Every draft has, well, maybe not every draft, but I was going to use Peyton Manning's example. That's a terrible example because every draft doesn't have a Peyton Manning, but it may have a Peyton Manning at a different position, right? You got Peyton Manning 1 year, you got Aaron Donald 1 year, you got Julio 1 year.
Well, okay, no, I'll help you out. Look at this situation. Just take our draft, the draft with Jared Goff, Carson Wentz, and Dak Prescott. Those are 3 quarterbacks that all have 3 different potential levels.
Wait, forget about quarterbacks. Who was the elite level player in that draft? I'm sure it wasn't one of them.
Ezekiel Elliott went 4th overall.
Yeah, that was Zeke.
first?
That was Zeke. Yeah.
Jerry.
No. Goff went and then Wentz went.
Okay, but my point is, if you identify
None of the asses is elite.
No, if you identify somewhere in the draft that there's elite level talent, they should have a higher cap, right, than other guys. If guys have less talent, less potential, they should have lower cap.
Right.
You shouldn't be able to take that guy and make him a 99 overall.
2K
So-
because
so
every
hold on,
guy.
hold on.
I was about to say
Hold
2K
on.
does that.
Hold on. So
Hold on,
this is
let's see you go.
hold on. So this is what I don't like about that. So there's a reason why baseball went from being America's pastime to football becoming America's pastime. And the reason for that is because the NFL was smart enough to introduce the salary cap. And the way they structure their draft and the way they structure the salary cap is what keeps them above baseball. Because in baseball, you have your teams, you have your Yankees and your Dodgers, and certain teams that are just every decade they're gonna win at least one championship every year, because you at the end of the day you can just fucking buy a team. And I know some of y'all are Yankees fans are just don't take offense to that, but at the end of the day, at the end of the day, you can do that. But the dream of the NFL, while we can call baseball a monarchy, we can call the NFL democracy, meaning that at any given year, any team that constructs the correct configuration for a team and has the correct coach in place can win a championship.
Kansas City.
That is the dream in the NFL, where you can take a baseball player and put him on the field, and you can take
he's done it in 2 sports.
And you can add in certain players. You can take away a superstar like Kareem Hunt. You can remove a huge star like D Ford, and then add in Honey Badger and
All right, well, we're not gonna say D Ford was a huge
here's the thing.
star.
Listen. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Teams can pretty much put together any configuration, and as long as it's correct, it doesn't have to be the most talented team. It just needs to be the correct configuration of players combined with the proper coaching, combined with, once again, that 10% magic, and you can win a championship. You can take a team like the Philadelphia Eagles, whose starting freaking quarterback got injured in December, and they pulled their backup quarterback through the playoffs and won a freaking championship with an excellent game. Not like he got carried. This ain't no Trent Dilfer. He didn't get carried. This ain't no Joe Flacco or nothing.
He got carried in that Falcons game.
What I'm saying is this. They can put together the proper configuration with the proper coaching and win a championship. So what I think is, by capping the overalls or the ratings on players, it takes from that, because that means the rich can continue to get richer, because there are certain players that if you could develop them, they could become more talented players in the league. So you can't get that guy, that Christian McCaffrey, who,
when I say cap, I mean soft cap, because 2K has this cap system where you can have a B.
Oh, no, I understand what
you have a B plus. You have a B plus potential, and you're supposed to cap out at 89, but you can still exceed past your potential under certain circumstances, and those would probably be
look at
in regards to the level
Eli.
of play you would have to do. Like
Eli won 2 Super Bowls with the Giants.
You would float between this
Michael
range. You can float between this range during the games as well.
Right.
So
I agree with what Courtney is saying.
Based off of Ree's point, just about confidence and all of those other things of pulling your player, having that adaptive rating during the game over the course of the game to add that level of depth within it to actually keep you engaged. Right. But
see, I agree with what Courtney is saying.
What you're saying.
Because Eli, let's look at Eli and Peyton, for example. Peyton is a great quarterback. He is a Hall of Fame quarterback. To me, he is the best quarterback to ever play.
Facts.
Eli.
Preach.
But Eli has 2 Super Bowls, and he beat what
Brady.
everyone calls the best quarterback in Tom Brady. But we all know that Eli's career, he was not and we'll use Madden terms, he's not a 99 overall quarterback. Like, that's just not the way that he is. So, but he had those times. Joe Flacco was not the best regular season quarterback,
he had
the best postseason in quarterback history.
One-shot deal.
He still only won the Super Bowl because the refs didn't call that pass interference. But I digress. So I get what Courtney's saying in that sense that, you know, people can still have a soft cap on the rating, but there could be a situation where they give you more than what the rating says, but it's just not something that's going to happen long term.
Or there's something that's permanent.
Right.
I had to adjust the lighting for more of the shade.
You're good. Don't worry about it. Just going off of what everybody said, just adding to that, final point for me on this is just everybody shouldn't have the problem with Madden versus real life is that in Madden, anybody could be a 99 if you put up the right number of stats. Anybody can be an elite player. The way the NFL works in real life, if we wanted to be as close to simulation as possible, and again, me and C, if we've gone back and forth about this point, is that I don't expect the game to one for one replicate what happens in the NFL on Sunday, because that's an unrealistic expectation from a video game. But my problem is certain things we should be able to check off certain boxes. And this is one of those boxes. Every guy shouldn't be able to get to 99 overall. Like, I'm sorry. Like, because
but that's the beauty of it, right?
No.
So that's why so what we're looking at, the real beauty of it is think of Tom Brady.
Okay, that's a one in a lifetime situation. Like,
I'm just saying,
like a complete
possible.
Anomaly.
Okay, if you want to make it possible, have that incorporated into the draft where there is an
There's one random guy every couple of years
projected in the 6th round every 2-3 years
that has
a 98 potential.
Exactly. You could do that. It's a game. You could fit that into the algorithm of the game. You really could. And
it be that way to where that guy is in there, so there is something that you're actually looking for.
Because look, you got Brady, you got guys like Shannon Sharp. What was he, 5th round?
Richard Sherman? What was he?
Again, Sherman. Russell Wilson was 3rd round. Like, those guys exist, but it can't just be anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you could take a guy you drafted in Madden in the 7th round and he has 97 speed, or even 94 speed, because really those 97 speed guys are gone in the 1st round. But like, you can find a guy that's got like 94 speed and you can make him 99 overall in a couple of years if you worked hard enough at it. Like, come on, son. You shouldn't be able to do that every single time. You just shouldn't. Like, the game shouldn't allow you to do that with just anybody. And you can. You could take any guy and be like, you know what? I'm going to run for 2,000 yards with 3,000 yards with this guy every season, and in 3 years he's going to be a 99 overall. And I drafted him in the 7th round. Like, you shouldn't be able to do that every single year, but you can in Madden, and that's the problem with that part of the game.
Well, the thing is that.
All right, this is the last point on this topic.
Absolutely, and the thing is they already have it like that. Like, you really can't take like a 53 overall player. Like, you can't literally do that. So I'm gonna connect. So I'll tell you right now, I'm in a connected franchise that's in year 7. I'm talking about Josh Allen is my quarterback. He's 30 years old, bro.
He got 99 throw power off the jump, though.
This is true, and some players are like that. Your Aaron Rodgers, your Josh Allens, you got these Big Ben, you got these big arm quarterbacks, the Pat Mahomeses of the league that can just fucking sling that shit.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple of guys like that in the league. There's always a couple of guys like that in the league. There's at least 3 or 4 guys like.
Not Pat Mahomes.
Huh?
But Josh Allen is not Patrick Mahomes, even though he has a 97.
He has the arm. He's not as accurate because he didn't play.
He's not Patrick Mahomes.
He's not a pro baseball player, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
He can sling that shit.
Right.
Odell Beckham can too.
Yeah, sure.
He's not accurate, but he can throw that this shit. You know what I mean? Some people just got the arm talent, so you should be able to, in some form, exploit the arm talent, because that's what good coaching is, right? You take a guy that's, this is how certain coaches like Pete Carroll, like Bill Belichick, how they constructed their entire careers. You take these guys that have one really good intangible, and you're able to exploit that in a position, putting them in position in a certain spot in a scheme in order to be able to make them look better than they actually are. So you get a guy like, like a Josh Norman that, played phenomenally on the Panthers. So if you look at Madden, this is a guy that maybe when he was a rookie, he was like 67, 68. But, by the time he was at the end of that contract, when he had that year that they went to the Super Bowl, now he's at 87, 88. You know what I mean? And then
that kind of goes back to just situation. Like if people are drafted into the right situation,
like that can happen. Scheme,
but that doesn't happen to everyone.
Make the scheme type actually matter. Make it to where, just like I said, the adaptive ratings paired with that. And if you actually get into that scheme, you don't just get maybe a 1 or 2 rating boost. You actually get a raise in your cap based off of the situation or the scheme that you're in per player. So you might have a guy that is lower on the lower tier and might not cap out at maybe just 87, 88. But in the right scheme, he can have a 95 cap, whatever. And he can still exceed up to outside of that cap.
You got to take all those things into scheme, coach.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, sure. Okay.
And you get different bonuses to that cap based off of what you have around you in regards to your coach, wada, all of these other things. And you have the perfect situation for the perfect guy that just happened to have all of the things necessary. You could have a 99 overall that you want.
Go ahead, Dre. Take this transition.
All these points are great. So the next thing that we're going to talk about now, we're going to talk about Ultimate Team and player versus player gameplay combined, because typically that's one of the main times where, unless you're playing like an online connected franchise, Ultimate Team is the main time where you're going to be playing against another player online. So I don't necessarily play Ultimate Team. I'll talk about the player versus player, but I don't necessarily play Ultimate Team because I don't like the mode. I'm not paying money for it. And all I ever do is just start creating. Like I create my team, open whatever packs came with the game just so I can get those achievements. And then that's it. I never go into the mode again. But for those of you that do play Ultimate Team, I open the floor to you guys.
Okay, so let me go because I play. Don't do that.
Oh, Freddie, look at that boy. Look at that.
Okay, so Ultimate Team is the best and worst thing that's happened to Madden since its inception, because it's diversified the gameplay enough that it adds an element that brings extra people into the game, and that's great. And it offers a different way to play the game, which is also great because it extends the life of the game and it makes it more fun. The problem with that is that, again, as I said before, all the focus is Ultimate Team for developers and the publisher being EA to microtransactions and get people to buy more things, buy packs and do whatever for Ultimate Team. And that becomes the main mode of play long-term wise, like Ultimate Team, because microtransactions, and that's what people are playing. That's what people go hard for, is Ultimate Team. Every time you turn Madden on and it tells you about the new Ultimate Team player, get this 95 overall Brian Urlacher or whoever, get the special Halloween version of Ray Lewis. It throws that in your face as soon as you turn the game on. So it's Ultimate, again, it's great and it's terrible at the same time because it's fun, but I only played a little bit of the player versus player portion of it because I did a lot of single player portions of Ultimate Team. But for for the player versus the PvP, just it functions as it should. You know, you just as long as you have the right guys, you're in a position to do well. But unfortunately, there's no turning back from here. It's too late. There's nothing. You could get every community member of that plays Madden to say, you know, we're not doing this, and this is still going to be the focus of the game. Period. Like, Ultimate Team is the focus, and it's going to get the most focus because that's what keeps the revenue going. And unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about that. And so either you play it or you don't play it. Get on board or don't get on board. But because let's be honest, whether or not a few hundred or a few thousand people don't play Ultimate Team, it's not going to matter on a large scale for the numbers. It's just not going to. So just play it. At this point, just succumb to it because whatever. Like, if you got people, you got friends that are playing it, you're not playing, you might as well just hop on and just start playing it. Because enjoy yourself because it's not going anywhere. And nothing we say is going to change that. Point blank. That's all I got on that.
I got a little bit of a less aggressive. Aggressive.
I'm here for all the aggression. But go ahead.
I guess my gripe with it is similar to how speed wins, speed kills.
In fairness, that's in real life too. But
I mean, it is.
They do it wrong in that. But
they
anyway,
they do it wrong in all the ultimate teams.
It's worse than Ultimate Team.
Even on 2K, there was this recent issue in the community where this pretty decently overall, like pretty quality overall bowl card came out. And people were just trying to get their hands on it, whatever. It was selling for wild, crazy numbers, whatever coins or currency.
Store they got, yep.
The market store they have.
Yep.
Because if you get this card, you can dominate any 2K online game that you were about to step into, PvP. And the same thing happens with Madden.
That's what they do. You should buy these packs.
You get the one guy that you throw in the slot.
Buy more packs.
And you send him up that seam.
Buy more packs.
And he's gone. And then it's either buy more packs to get the coins, to get the player that you need to get, the one or two players. Like there's no actual balance in regards to the players that are in there. It's just throwing them in this pot of gigantic mess.
Buy more packs.
Letting anybody manipulate them how they want to, position-wise. And it's like it's the wild, wild west because it's all with actual people's money. I mean, it's literally pay to win. So it's literally pay to win.
This is the worst example of pay to win. EA has been trash but microtransactions.
It's like, yo, get this historic Michael Vick for the 18th time.
Oh my God.
And you know everybody wants
it. And you know
Michael
everybody's
Vick.
trying to get Vick.
Everybody's trying to get it. And then they'll release like the Michael Vick with the 6 different versions of them through the years. You got to collect them all to get the 99 overall version.
Can we just bring back
the 87 overall?
Can we just bring back Madden 04? Let's just do that. Let's just replace Madden 21 with Madden 04 upgraded. Like, let's just do that.
Yo, them legacy, not
or
even the legacy issue. These new features is coming, and I can't wait to get to them. So I'm done talking.
Next.
Dude,
go ahead.
If we want to talk Ultimate Team, man, I'll tell you this. So Madden really, in my opinion, seems to have introduced Ultimate Team with the intention of bringing in a new generation of gamers, because the guys that have been playing it for years already, we basically just play connected franchise and nothing else. You might catch a game or two of regs, like a handful of them games throughout the year of having it. But for the most part, we play connected franchise. And what they're trying to do is, like I said, bring in a newer generation of gamers that, half their games they're playing on their cell phone. You know what I mean? I got Call of Duty on my phone. It looks like PS3 when I play Call of Duty on my phone.
Facts.
So You know, and they try to, you know, they every second, that's all they do is pushing those microtransactions.
Shout out to Project X Cloud, Man 20 on there.
Hey, get these new guns, or get this
trash.
grade, or get this scope for $2.99 or whatever. And the same thing, you know, the generation that plays Apex Legends, Fortnite, PUBG, all of these games where the freemium games where they hand you the game and then they nickel and dime you to death. And next thing you know, you realize you done spent $200-300 on a game that you didn't pay anything for to even play it. And you know what they're trying to do is they're trying to transition those fans into playing connected franchise, because connected franchise is where the hardcore gamers are. But what happens is you have these players that stack up, and now you're playing Madden like it's an RPG instead of like it's football. And now you're stacking up all these players, and then your team's a 99. You've got these gods that you're playing with, and you go, let me try connected franchise. And now you know your favorite team might be the Dolphins, and your team might be 74 overall, and you might play New England in your first 2 weeks. You play New England, and you play damn Baltimore your first 2 games. Now you're 0-2, and you're like, man, let me just go back to MUT because I already have a 99 team in MUT. And it keeps them away from that. And it's because that happens because they can see who, you know, how many users are starting the game up and then what modes they're playing. They can see that. They know what the hell is going on. And they see that people aren't making the transition. They go, well, let's just upgrade MUT every week. So literally you have weekly brand new content from MUT. They're like, oh no, get coronavirus Michael Vick, who's got it's just always something. They try to keep up with the times. Honoring Martin Luther King. Come get the new Devin Hester with extra speed. I'm like, it's irrelevant. But it's always something, and they try to like just keep giving you new content. It's like get the Black Lives Matter Lawrence Taylor, and it's just always something. Yes, watch him crush the quarterback by eluding the offensive line or something like that. Like they try to make it clever, and it's like that's not clever. We know what you're doing. You're just trying to get more transactions processed, and you know you selling to us every week.
Shout out to my man CZ, because this is the most we've ever agreed on Madden in like 7 years.
Well, no, I mean you guys. And like I said, the thing about it, the best thing about it, I'm gonna keep reiterating, is that the shield is on the cover of the damn game.
And I don't disagree with you.
And if I want to play as Matt Ryan,
that's what means I keep buying it. Matter of fact, I didn't buy it last year. Dre bought it. And
if I want to play as Matt Ryan, I'm not gonna play backbreaker. Like, come on, bro. Like,
all right. But all I'm gonna say is, if Madden were to come out and use the Black Lives Matter movement to try and sell some cards on MUT, they gonna be canceled. They gonna be canceled. Like, it's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
It's a tragedy that they got to.
They would have to do it to charities. I'm pretty sure that's what 2K did.
It's just tragic that they got to renew the license,
but
and that 2K couldn't make quote unquote simulation football games.
But you know what? I got some additional news about that.
That kind of takes us. Go ahead,
Steve. Hold on, wait.
So apparently, what the rumor is that the NFL actually walked into their meeting with EA with the intentions of opening up the market again and allowing competition to come in.
So there's still a bunch of money at them.
And what it seems is EA is promising a certain amount, and if they don't meet that amount, then EA is just gonna open it back up.
Oh, so it's on the fans to not buy Madden so we can get competition.
Well, yeah, but we're trash and we still buy it anyway. So
it would be to really stop spending money on MUT.
That's not going to happen though,
because that would crush the bottom line if people stop spending money on MUT.
Because those are the numbers that they're looking at. Because
they're not worried about how many games get sold.
Have went down, but
if they were worried about how many games they sold, it wouldn't be available for free on freaking EA Access right now.
Yeah, that's true.
They don't care about that. They maximize their sales. When they see that drop off in sales, like, okay, everybody bought the game, they just throw it on EA Access, like right after the Super Bowl. They just throw it on EA Access. They're like, here, play it for free. Fuck it, we don't care.
Yeah.
No, get these microtransactions.
Because the money comes from MUT.
Game Pass is amazing.
All right. So with everything that we've talked about the Ultimate Team, we're all pretty much
now
on
is
the same.
trash.
We're all pretty much on the same page that we understand the point behind it. It's now the main selling mode because it's the mode that is bringing in the most money.
Right.
We have our gripes and our negatives about it, but at the end of the day, as long, like C said, as long as it's doing what Fortnite, Apex Legend, PUBG,
Apex
Warzone,
Legends coming to Switch this year.
As long as it's doing what all those things are doing, then
You didn't know
it's
that?
fine. But it takes us into our next topic of what Madden. What we're saying that Madden actually is. This mode is actually proven that Madden can do this realm well, but it's not doing the simulation realm well, and that's knockout. So knockout is basically
you can explain it, but I'm gonna start.
Yeah, so knockout is basically Madden fully arcade, and we understand that it's
Madden at its finest.
Like we understand that it's not real. You got DJ Khaled as your coach or whatever. You got Quavo as your quarterback. All that
best version of the game ever.
But we're just going in with no expectations. It's just straight up fun.
Craft champions.
Once we're done, we're done. But go ahead, Courtney.
Go ahead, Dash.
Yo, I'm not playing this dumb ass game mode, and I never will. That is all.
I like it.
Next.
All right. Well, to piggyback off of that, I thought Knockout was cool because to me, where it's come to, Knockout is like the epitome of what Madden represents at this point. Nonsense, just all kind of over the top. Yo, bring back NFL Street. That's all I got.
Yo, have you seen DJ Khaled take a jump shot?
Yo, bring back NFL Street.
Why he need to be anywhere near a football field? You see him shoot the
I'll tell you. Hold on. I'll tell y'all this. I play Knockout. I don't play it a lot, but I play it. And the reason I play it is because I play a lot of different games.
Yeah.
And when you play a lot of different games, sometimes you get away from a game for a while, you forget the controls, and then you stop playing it because you forgot the controls. So what I usually use KO for real quick is, you get a few snaps on offense, you get a few snaps on defense, you get warmed up, and then you can go play a regular game again.
True. I like to draft champions a lot, and I guess Knockout is like the evolution.
Yeah, it is.
Champions.
It is.
Draft champions was dope. I just think that Knockout is the silly version of draft champions, but still fun. Again, just bring back NFL Street
and put that as a game.
I'm gonna say this as well.
Before you go, here's the problem. If they brought back NFL Street, there would be less people buying Madden.
Right.
Because there's a lot of people that think, I'll just play NFL Street. Like
online and that shit would be wild.
Yo, NFL Street would be lit. Like they would lose so many Madden sales because of NFL Street. That's why they're not gonna do it. Go ahead, Steve.
They could have the same ladder structure as Ultimate Team. They could cash in on that shit. Get the NFL Street, Randy Moss gotta.
Yo, oh my God, bro,
crazy shit.
I just wanted to make this one simple point.
Go ahead.
There's nothing like the feel of being, a Derrick Henry, and you get the ball in your gut, and you hit between the guard and the tackle, and your fullback just catches that middle linebacker in time, and the field opens up, and you step out, and the cornerback got blocked well, and it's just you and one safety, and you hit up on that right stick, and you just, wow!
Yeah,
there's nothing like that feeling.
But you don't need knockout for that. Derrick Henry does that in real life. He does that in the franchise. Like that's just
what I'm saying is there's nothing like
on the field.
What I'm saying is there's nothing like having that control of that, and that's the thing is that you're not getting it's like you're losing the full control of that. Like if you don't time that right stick up in time.
I mean, you do have to time it right. I'll give you that.
But that's a skill.
Nigga, what? That's what we talk about right now?
I mean, you can't just do it.
No, that's not.
You'll get blasted.
But some players, it's a lot easier to just That's why I say Derrick Henry or Marshawn Lynch or LeGarrette Blount or one of these types that. And that's the whole thing is you still get that feeling in some parts of Madden.
Yeah.
And as long as those small feelings are there, as long as you look up at the scoreboard and it's all zeros and you got 28 up or you got 35 up and your opponent got fucking 7 up or 10, and you know, like, yo, I just put my foot on his chest and just told him, like, this is mine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You still get that feeling. So as long as you still get that feeling, you still keep buying it.
What do you got, Dre?
I don't think that's why I'm buying Madden.
We just buying
Knockout,
it because of the NFL.
Knockout just proved to me that
Knockout probably could have been its own game.
Well,
NFL
yeah,
Street.
that's basically what I was
The
about to say.
game
Like,
mode on NFL Street?
Knockout proved to me that Madden could literally be a full-fledged arcade game and be perfectly fine.
Could be.
Like, don't sit here and try and fool us for saying, oh, we've got the best simulation game out there. We've got the only simulation game out there. When really all you've been doing is putting out a arcade game, masqueraded as a simulation game. Like, that's it. I don't think the mode is going to necessarily survive, future iterations, kind of like Draft Champions. I think it'll soon be replaced with something else, and there'll always be some type of arcade thing with Madden. But I just think the name of it and certain functionalities will be changed.
Right.
But if 2K had gotten the contract, or if it was completely open, anybody could have done whatever. Then I think Madden would have been perfectly fine of being, hey, we're Madden Knockout 2023, Madden Knockout 2024, like all that kind of stuff.
They can make 2K can make non-simulation games, so we'll see what that is. If it's some sort of like 2K Playgrounds type game, which again, some people didn't like it, some people liked it. I thought those 2K Playground games were actually pretty good. Like it was like a literal like cross between NBA Street and NBA Jam. It was like somewhere like in the middle, and I thought that was pretty dope. Like if it's something like that, they might get more sales than most people expect. Like if they do an NFL game that's like that, like I'm not saying it's gonna pry, a boatload of sales for Madden, but I think if it moves the needle in any fashion at all, I think that's something. That's a step in a direction where hopefully the NFL was like, well, maybe let's rethink this exclusive license thing and let's let 2K or whoever else slap the NFL logo on it. Because honestly, isn't that what we all want? Like, don't we just want the best possible products we can get from the NFL license? Like, whether it be Madden, whether it be 2K, whatever, like, I just want the best NFL product I can get. And if it even comes from two sources, because let's not forget, you got 2K5 and you had Madden 05, and they were both amazing games. And Madden EA was forced to drop the price of Madden 05 because 2K came out at $20. So because 2K5 was $20, they couldn't keep selling Madden 05 at 60. They had to drop it to like 40 and then 30 because they couldn't sell it for 60 because 2K5 was 20. Like, and it was depending on your opinion, at the very worst, an on par game. Most people will obviously say 2K5 is a superior game, but again, you can make the argument because Madden 05 was a great game as well. So competition breeds the best, and the consumer wins. So for EA to keep dominating the license is just not good for anybody except EA. And because they can just get people to keep buying Madden and keep doing these microtransactions for money, whatever. Go ahead, Dre.
So that takes us, but that's a good segue into our last topic, and it's the one that we argue about the most in our group. So tying into, we're going to talk about the two new features, at least with the videos that have just recently been put out by Madden 21. They're talking about the new controls for defensive linemen. So Reed's kind of getting his thing with controls in the trenches, but you also have the controls with the running back. And they say player movement, but it's really just for the running back. But we all know that because Madden is putting videos out on these, and they're now the 2 new features, it also means that they're going to be the OP features in Madden. And it's not going to be just any D lineman that you're going to be able to use. It's going to be the same guys, Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, Nick Bosa, Myles Garrett, those type of people. The running backs, Kamara, McCaffrey, Ezekiel Elliott, like people like that, Dalvin Cook. Like, it's going to be people like that, yeah, they can do it real well, and then everyone else is just, eh. But, so those are the new features, and we know they're going to be OP off the jump. But this topic is straight about legacy issues with Madden. And we all know, we all know what they are. We've all discussed them. We've all argued about them. And I'm actually let Ree go first on this one. And then after Ree goes, I'm going to let C go because I feel like C's going to almost want to go against everything that Ree says. But
probably not.
And C might prove me wrong. He might.
Okay, we'll see.
But
so
you two started off.
Here's what I got for legacy issues on Madden. One legacy issue was actually fixed. To my surprise, and that was, years ago, with your linebacker that would jump 6 feet in the air. They actually fixed that, which shocked me because I was surprised that they actually took the time to fix what was a legacy issue. But do you have the same thing? There's the legacy issue that still hasn't been fixed, which again, as I mentioned before, is anything revolving the offensive line. They don't form a proper pocket. None of that has been corrected in the fashion that it should be. They just keep glossing over it. They just keep overpowering certain versions. They keep overpowering the defense, and it's not fixing the pocket problems. They want you to forget about it by making the defensive players stronger. It's just like, oh, well, there's a reason why there's no pocket because now we've got all these moves and we've got special abilities and defensive players can do. You know what's funny? Here's a weird legacy issue that I'm not the only one that has a problem with, but just keeps getting pushed to the side. And it's like people talk about it and then they don't talk about it anymore. Yo, what's good with the challenges? Why can't I get why can't I challenge anything? First of all, like every time something happens, like, oh man, I'm definitely gonna challenge that. And then you pause the screen and the shit is just grayed out. Like, I don't understand. Like, and I tell you, you know what's funny? It's because there's the legacy issue that, and this is where me and C have been going this way for most of the night, and this is where we're gonna go this way. Because the legacy issue of the game's animations taking precedence over everything shows in little things like those not being able to challenge anything. Because the game has pre-decided, because the animation played out the way it did, and the game thinks, okay, the player did this, but you watch the replay and you're like, no, this is what happened. But the game, because of the way the game algorithms animations, it's like, no, it didn't happen that way, so you can't challenge it. Like, no, but I'm looking at it and his feet are both in. And the game's like, yeah, but no, because the animation, the animation says he went out of bounds. Forget about what you saw. The animation says he went out of bounds, so you can't challenge that. You're dead on that. That's a legacy issue that, in my opinion, to the point we've gotten to, and again, this is sad, because again, I keep telling you, I want the game to be great, but it will never be fixed, because to fix it, you have to break the game down to its core structure, foundation, and they're never going to do that, because to break the game down to its foundational point, you have to take a year off at this point, and they're never going to do that. Now, granted, we've all talked about scenarios where they could do it. It's like, hey, you guys just getting a roster update from us anyway, so hey, you're kind of getting mostly the same game. Here's a roster update. We're really working on something great for the next year. we're breaking it down to the foundation, and we're fixing all these issues that you guys have, and we're gonna give you something good 2 years from now. But next year, you know, you're mostly getting the same game, and here's some roster updates and some, you know, uniform updates, stadium updates, whatever. You know, and they'll never do that because, granted, and this is something me and Steve talked about, and we've went back and forth about, because they have an exclusivity with the NFLPA license, the NFL is like, yo, where's the new game? Like, this is the same, like, you know, like, they have to sell X amount of copies, and they have to push X amount of units, and they have to do this, they have to do that, and it's like, the consumer keeps losing because of that, but the consumer keeps buying, right? So we're never going to get anywhere unless we got a mass quantity of people to go, yo, I'm not buying this game until you fix these problems. They're just never going to get fixed. And you have to get to the point where you accept what gets fixed and what doesn't get fixed. Because, again, the couple of legacy issues that I've mentioned are things that will never get fixed unless you tear the game down structurally. And they're never going to do that. And it hurts me to say that they're never going to do that, because I want them to do that, because I know if they do that, the game will be returned to greatness that I remember of the games that I used to stand and wait in line at midnight for, because you had to have Madden. You had to go home and play. You got it at midnight. You stayed up till 3 a.m. playing Madden. Madden used to be a holiday, yo. Like, Madden Day was a day where it was like, yo, I'm not coming to work. You're not going to see me because I'm home playing Madden. I got it at midnight, and I'm going to be home playing it all day. Like, that was a thing. And that's not a thing anymore for a number of reasons. A, because we don't wait at midnight for shit. We just go digital and we have it. But that's different. You know, at the same time, you're not playing it until you're not taking the next day off to play Madden anymore. You used to do that. I used to tell my job, like, yo, you're not seeing me this day. It's just not happening. Madden's coming out. Like, you're not seeing me. Like, I'm just like, these legacy issues, some of these issues are not getting fixed because you got to tear the game down to fix them, and they're not going to do that. And that hurts me. But whatever. Go ahead, C.
All right, go ahead, C.
What's the topic again?
Done. I don't even know anymore. I don't even know anymore.
Just going, boy.
And that's exactly why I had him go first. But we're discussing legacy issues. What are your issues with the legacy issues of Madden?
And yo, before we close out,
wait, time is done. Stop.
I'm reclaiming my time.
Yo.
So, in regards to the legacy issues, I don't give a fuck. Like, to be honest with you,
I knew you was gonna say that.
Yo, get him off the
like certain shit. It's just you know, everybody knows. You know, like, it's like your car, right? So you get in your car and you know, like, oh, you know, sometimes the back right window don't go down. You got to, like, press up a little bit and then press down. And, you know, the cup holder comes out. You know, you got to jiggle it a little bit to come out. Like,
your cup holder comes out?
It becomes, no, I'm just saying, like, it becomes like that. Like, you know, when you have a car for a while, you know the odds and the ends. And you know your little weird little gigs in your car. Like, oh, you know, when you start it, you got to, you know, jiggle the fucking brake or some shit, or you know, there's something for everything. Like, everybody's got something, right?
Yeah, but see, on that point right there.
Hold on. I'm gonna make the point.
Hey, I'm just gonna say this one thing.
Just let me explain. Hold on. Just let me explain. So that's the thing about it, is you just kind of get adapted to what you have, right? But at the same time, those little gigs kind of usually happen because you're driving a piece of shit.
Okay.
And not necessarily.
And sometimes that piece of shit is just fine, bro.
So mad.
Because you could have, all right, I'm gonna go back to your car analogy. Because in that sense, you could have had a brand new car, but because you've had it for a long time, or you were hard on it when you had it, so that's why all those, you know, those things start happening. Your cup holder coming out, and like, I ain't never seen my cup holder.
Bro, sometimes you don't give a Sometimes you don't
But the
give
thing
a
is,
fuck.
it's not necessarily when you got it, it was bad, but it ended up becoming like that. And you noticed that it was coming like that, but you specifically, you're like, okay, I just deal with it because I know what it once was, but it is this now. But think about when you give a buddy a ride. Your buddy was never in the car potentially when it was brand new. He's seeing it for what it is, and he's telling you straight up, bro, you need a new car. Like this ain't.
And I'm like, kiss my ass. This shit takes me to work every day. You don't take me to work every day.
Look.
This car takes me to work every day.
There's a reason why we can't get a better Madden.
No, and that's kind of my point is that as long as we keep buying the game, which we will, because we're all going to be playing the game that first week is out.
Turned to buy it this year. I ain't buying it.
Again.
But I see his point because at this stage, Madden's almost going on 30 years, right? Like
it's a culture. It's a cultural icon. Like
it's not
part of what we do.
Everybody's going to buy it. Like we're not going to get those long-term issues fixed. So it's like at this point, you either accept the fact that they're just going to put a Band-Aid over it or not play. And depending on your situation, one of those things might not be able, like I'm not going to not play because y'all are going to play and we're going to play franchise. And that's
season.
Like I'm going to play because of that. If that doesn't exist, then I wouldn't play. But it does exist, so I am gonna play. Now, like to be honest, if I didn't have this group, I wouldn't have played Madden like the last 2 years. Real talk. Because like
I wasn't playing it. Not for a little bit.
Like it's not going anywhere. Like you play it and then you're like, okay, you get some time. And again, I told y'all this earlier and I told y'all this in the past. I don't pass judgment on games until I get my hands on them. So Madden 21 has all the opportunity to be great. I'm not going to bash something I didn't get my hands on yet. I don't care what gameplay trailers we've seen and all that stuff that we're probably going to get into real quick. But it's like,
oh, we're suckers for some trailers.
Yeah, of course. But like, because we want the game to be good so bad. We want it to be the best game it can be. That it's like, yo, man, this trailer is cracking. Like, and you play the game, and you're like, all right, this is kind of the same thing I played last year. Like, like real talk.
So here's the thing about that.
Hang on. Courtney, you got anything for Legacy?
Oh, I can talk now. All right. Well, I'm gonna make it short so y'all can get back to y'all jibber jabber about this damn game. But I think the only improvement that I would want to see is in regards to momentum. It's regards to the physics of the game. I feel like it's something that you can incorporate. But if these players actually have weight, you know, outside of maybe one player like Derrick Henry, nobody has a weight. These linemen are skating across these updated grass blades that they keep updating every year, like they're not 320 pounds and 6'8". So you have these animations, and you could have a game kind of operate with animations if the players' weights actually were the way that they would, and that momentum could operate the way that it should in regards to their physics and how the game operates. But
I knew Reed would love this topic.
Ever since they started to do more with graphics in regards to Madden, we've gotten less in regards to gameplay. So we upgraded, we hopped to the new system. The players weren't as necessarily robotic, maybe. They had these more fuller characteristics. The helmets were all glossy.
Yeah.
It was all beautiful. The characters were full. You saw the details in the outline pads. And they just looked better. But they were skating across this field, and it's just deteriorated ever since. And you try and patch that with abilities to make somebody
X
like
factors.
Derrick Henry have weight when he really doesn't.
Exactly. If they only did one thing and they stripped all those other, superficial things from the game, if they changed the structure of the game from being animation based to physics based, it would fix like 90% of the problems. But it's not physics based. And there's no way you can play the game and think that it's physics based, because it's not. And what blows my mind is that FIFA's physics based, NHL's physics based. Why can't Madden be physics based? I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't understand why.
The NHL crowd would beg to differ. They feel pretty simple.
Okay, fair. But again, that's kind of been up and down. But using FIFA as an example, it's like, why can games that are in-house, and I get it, you have different developers, but this is all under one publishing branch. Why you can't get, it's all under EA Sports. Obviously, if you Tiburon, this whatever the case may be, Montreal. But why can't you make your main seller, which FIFA's really right there with Madden, honestly. But again, why can't these two properties that are neck and neck? Why can't Madden be physics based just like FIFA's physics based? I don't understand. Why does Madden have to be animation based? FIFA's not animation based. It's based on physics.
So here's the thing about that. So what you're requesting is basically for them to tear down the game and rebuild it.
Again, I understand.
We understand that developers operate on the time constraints.
We're talking like a 5-month turnaround. I know. I understand that. And just to what I was saying earlier, it's sad because I know that's not going to happen. And I have to understand the fact that that's not going to happen because they're not going to do that.
But I don't think that it's impossible.
Because they only got they just have to make a hard decision. 4 to 5
months to make a new game. We're being honest.
They were ready to release these games for when new consoles were finally announced, and they were pushing them out as upgrades. They are capable of literally rehashing a game graphically. Add the Frostbite engine.
Yeah, I didn't do anything.
Which just upgraded
it. It did though, man. It did.
I mean, yes.
Come on.
It was a step, but it wasn't true physics. That's the problem.
Right. So they added that, and it didn't really go the way that it generally needed to. But I'll reserve the space for that.
Whatever. Dre, go ahead.
All right. So since everyone's already got what they've got to say about legacy issues, I know Ree has a lot more, but Ree, we ain't got time for you to spill everything that you got about Madden. My biggest thing with the legacy issues with Madden is just that, and it kind of goes to some of the things that Ree says. Madden, my problem is Madden knows what the problems are. Madden knows what the legacy issues are.
They do.
And every year, to fix it. Yeah, but here's the thing. My issue with the legacy issues is the fact that instead of Madden just admitting it and saying, hey, look, guys, I'm a straightforward person. I'd rather somebody just tell me straight up. So that way, all right, I know you understand it, you realize it, and you're working towards fixing it, or you're working towards whatever it is that you're working toward. But instead, they just try to put a Band-Aid on it. So because every year it's something. Every year is just a different Band-Aid. And that's what the new features, we should just call them Band-Aids because they're not new features. They're just a Band-Aid. So when Steve was talking about the fade, you can't fade. Madden tried to throw in there with the fade, and it was a horrible, horrible system. They tried to do like the little, you move the marker to lead your receiver
I remember
to this part of the field. And they had to complete.
That was Madden 19, yeah.
Because no one was using it.
Nobody used it. It took too much time.
Right. People were saying that.
I'm in the red zone. I ain't got that much time.
Right. People were saying that, hey, my 99 overall JJ Watt he's playing the same as my, 90 overall Brandon Graham or my, 75 overall, whoever, Vinny Curry, whatever. And so they're like, all right, y'all say that they look the same or they're playing the same. Let's throw in superstar abilities and X Factor abilities. And then now we're getting, Reed's already talking about the line and the trenches. Now we're getting with the new defensive lineman controls and stuff like that. So my issue is they know what the issues are and they're hiding the Band-Aid that they're throwing on it by just calling it a new feature. Instead of just coming out and say, guys, we understand this is an issue, but we just want to let you all know this isn't something that we can fix in X amount of months. But if you give us some time, within a couple of Maddens, we can have it fixed. We'll focus on it. If you all are fine with us not putting in new features and just trying to fix what is wrong with the game,
I'd be fine with that, personally speaking.
Right, me too.
If the features were actually features, they added 2 new juke moves. One's a stop. I can't remember what the other one is.
Yeah,
one's a dead leg.
The jurdle, they call it.
And a side hurdle.
Dead leg shit.
The problem with that is guys like you and I wouldn't have a problem with that. But you know who would? Roger Goodell. And that shit ain't happening. The NFL ain't having that.
Let's be honest, though. They wouldn't know any better. They just care about whether or not they get a new game with the new players on the new teams and whatever you do.
When that bottom line is different, that's what they see. So,
I mean,
if they put out the same game twice in a row with the intention.
Because people will still buy it. Because it's the only...
the game would actually have to break. It would have to have a meltdown NBA Live that, literally be broken.
People will still buy it.
It would virtually have to collapse upon itself and then blow, which wouldn't let happen.
Right.
All in all, we've talked so much about Madden, and there's even more that we can go into when it comes to Madden. But I feel like we've said a lot versus there aren't too many positives from most of us about Madden. But at the end of the day, we're suckers. We keep buying it. We keep playing it. And they just keep giving us the same product. And it's like what Reed said. We have to come together and say, we're just not buying it this year. For them to kind of fully be like, all right, y'all, we gotta fix some stuff. And that's the thing. No one's gonna do that. It's not gonna happen. So none of this, and we didn't get our wish to where there's a full competition between EA and 2K. So EA still has the full.
We might get a partial competition.
Right.
Though.
Yeah, we could get a partial, but so I guess we could get part of our wish. We just don't get our full wish. But I mean, this is our Madden cast. Trust me, we'll have more stuff that we're going to say once Madden 21 comes out, once we all play it and we see the same issues are still there and some new issues might be there.
But wait and see, right?
Yeah, just gotta wait and see. This cast has been a long time coming.
With the video that you sent me yesterday, the 2K8 video, the All Pro 2K8 video. Yeah. They could easily, with the funding that they're getting for this new arcade game, they could easily dedicate a team to upgrading and revamping All Pro football, and with the customizations that are available and with the amount of online sharing that goes on now, as opposed to how it did back in 2008, it's totally possible to get, an All Pro 2K20 or All Pro 2K21, I should say, and just be able to download a user-created version of the NFL in order to be able to continue to play this game. Yeah. And so what they did was good. This was like, the NFL understands, and I'm sure the NFL hears the voices of people, feeling like they're losing their attachment and their experience with the NFL. And that's the last thing that, people want, in the NFL. They, the two things that bring fans in are this video game and fantasy football. And if you were to lose one or the other, then the NFL as a whole will lose fans. And they don't want to do that. And especially in a time like this, a tumultuous time like this where, the NFL is going to basically, from what I've read, the NFL is basically on pace to lose about $3 billion because of this coronavirus pandemic. Crazy. And I'm sure they're well aware of that. And they're in a time where, okay, maybe this wasn't the right year to separate from 2K, from EA Sports. So let's go ahead and extend this contract Let's get through this rough patch we about to go through for the next couple of years, and then come back with it. Because what's going to happen is, from the results of the losses that they're going to take from this year, the salary cap's not going to be as high as they may have projected what it was going to be, a few months back when it gets to next season. So that means, that's a direct reflection of the revenues that the NFL makes. And these are the business transactions that they're keeping in mind when they're talking about Madden. So when you talk about ripping a game down and redoing it so that people can have a better user experience, that shit doesn't matter. Like, to be really honest with you, like in the whole scheme of things, because making a better quality football game is not gonna make the game sell more. It's not gonna increase the transactions that they make. It's just not.
So in the situation of what that's really specific to what's going on now, like with the coronavirus and all that kind of stuff. That's a complete, understandable thing. Right. And this is the last thing I'm gonna say before I pass on to Reed to close us out. And so we have to look at it outside of this realm. So like, if this was the norm, how years have been, Madden could have done this a long time ago. Madden could have done this when the Xbox One came out or when the PS4 came out and all that kind of stuff. They could have said, we're going to take some time. And I don't know what the team is like. I don't know if they're short staffed. I don't know if they have the capability to split up, to say, hey, you guys work on this game's coming out every year because we have to put out a product to fulfill our obligations to the NFL. You guys literally work on a brand new game. Like, I just don't know if they're capable of doing that. Like, if they have the means to hire more people to do that, I don't know.
Activision does it with Call of Duty. They got 3 teams.
So, but that's all I'm gonna say because we got to close this out. So, like I said, we've said a lot. We got a lot more that I know we're going to say. There's going to be a part 2 to this, I know, but it won't be until Madden 21 comes out. So, Ree, I'm gonna pass it on to you so you can close this out.
They're gonna release some more news probably here in the next couple of weeks.
We'll see. We got more coming, but we'll cover that. Thank you for joining us for the official Sports Gaming Anonymous Madden cast. Stay tuned. We got another episode of the Flash and Dash podcast coming. And also stay tuned for the very first Old School Gamers podcast with C and Ree coming soon. We haven't decided when, but it is coming. The very first episode we'll be doing.
That's what she said.
Yeah, I like that. But thank you for joining us tonight, and continue to join us. Continue to share the group. Come see us on Facebook. Stay tuned with the Twitter page. We're on Instagram.
I'll be on there beating up the Saints fans.
Anonymous. And thank you guys again for joining us, and we'll catch you guys on the next episodes of our properties. And peace out.
Yeah.